When I was in jail, the amount of letters I got from people, and it was just names of, and I'm not comparing myself to these people. This is the letters I got of Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, everyone who was unjustly imprisoned. Everyone's gone to jail. Because when you stand up for something, they end up trying to put you in jail. When you're a good person trying to do good, the evil, the matrix as a whole is going to try and throw you in jail. That's what they do. That's the punishment for it. And history's always been the same. It's always been a small group of outgunned people who stand up, who are to the detriment of themselves, too principled to allow injustice and evil to thrive. And they stand up and they're outgunned and they're outnumbered, but they're like, no, I have to tell the truth. If you play a video game and you're the good guy, when you get to the boss at the end, he has more life than you. He has more hit points and he moves faster and he's a cheater. He cheats. He cheats. The bad guy cheats, but you still win because you're good. And that's how the battle's always been. I would love for the world to be another way, but I don't think it's ever been that way. I think if you find any time in history, it's always been the same story. And now I'm in the position where, like I said earlier, what am I supposed to do? Do I have a life path in which I can genuinely help people? And do I have a life path in which I can genuinely do some damage to the evil to the world? Or am I just going to disappear like a coward and let them lie about me and do my time and shut up and delete my Twitter account and just go away?
You know how sometimes, like, I've been in sales for quite a while. If a guy who doesn't have any responsibilities and he's single, he has a $30,000 month, boom, he's going to Vegas, having a good time. Yeah. And then he doesn't work as hard until he runs out of his $30,000. 3 months later, I got to go make the $30,000 again. Oh my God, panic, I got to pay my bills. I'm behind on the phone. Yeah. Let me buy this watch and make 40 grand. I'm going out again. So it's very inconsistent, right? And then as you're in sales longer, you're like, okay, the profile of somebody that's going to be more consistent is not a single guy. It's a guy that's married, kids, homeowner, and all those three are signs of what? Married, commitment. Yep. Homeowner, commitment, responsibility. Kids, commitment, responsibility. Yep. Last time we didn't talk about your kids. Yep. At this point, I think it's public video, your daughter running to me, give daddy a kiss, all this stuff. Everybody knows at this point. Yep. When you're in jail, sometimes I sit there and I got books on my desk. I'm like 50 books behind, and I like to read. I know you don't talk about reading a lot, but I like to. I'm 50 books behind. But I bet if you're in a place where you're in jail, you're forced to think. You're forced to, Andrew, you don't have the phone, you don't have the computer, there is no emergency podcast. Go away and think. You're sitting there, you're like, okay, family, kids, you know, what it's really all about. Those decisions, when you think about your kids, does it influence you to say, oh, what are you doing this? You know, why are you going through all this stuff? Maybe you got to make some changes in your lifestyle. Yeah. And if yes, in what areas? Yeah. Or does it say, no, double down even more because I'm fighting for them?
And that's a really interesting question. I'll start by saying how thoughts in jail are different than thoughts in the outside world, because this is actually an observation I had. In the outside world, I don't think you carry a thought for very long that you don't want to carry. You can sit and think about something if you want to, but if you don't want to think about something, you just get your phone out. Something pops in your head, oh, I don't think, you get your phone out and distract yourself. Or you get on your laptop, or you call someone, or you do something, right? It's not very often in the real world.
Point.
It's not very often in the real world. You have a thought you don't want in your head, and you have nothing to take it away. You have no phone, you have no outside interaction, you have nowhere to go.
What a perspective.
Nothing. You're just stuck with it. You're stuck with that thought. So there were times in jail where, for the first time, like I have a lot of mental control, but there was the first time ever I'm battling with my own mind saying, I don't want to think about this. And I'd put another thought in the way. It was on the door. It was knocking on the door all the time. And this is for weeks. Because every day is the same. You never get the outside interaction. And you also, what made it worse is, you never get the answer. You know, like the open loop. If you ever say to somebody, I'm gonna tell you something, I'll tell you later. And it bothers them. That's what jail's like, because you might think of something, doesn't matter what it is. I won't say what my thought was, but I'll give you an example. Let's say I thought, when did Constantinople fall? What year? I can't just Google it. I don't know. So it's stuck in your head, right? So if you have this negative thought, you don't know the answer. Normally in life, when you want to know something, you find out. But in jail, you don't. So you're like, I don't know. You got this in your head and you're like, I can't get this out of my head. So when you have a negative thought, especially if there's an open loop to it, you need to know something or you want to know something. You can't get it out of your mind. I would sit there for hours just meditating, trying to just keep the door closed on negative thoughts. It's really difficult. It's a really strange experience. And maybe in normal jail in Western countries where you get to go and interact with people, you can distract yourself. But I was stuck in a room for 93 days in one room. I did not leave. That is where I was. I was allowed to go to the fridge once a day, which is a 3-meter walk and back. That is it in my room.
You and Tristan are in the same room or no?
At the beginning we weren't, but then we ended up in the same room.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the thoughts in jail are very pervasive. And it's also a long time, maybe never, in the outside world where I had a thought in my head for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You just satisfy the problem. You fix the issue in the real world. In jail, you can't do that. So yeah, family and kids, and those are the positive things that you do think about. But it's difficult because I think of children, I think of legacy. And then if you're gonna think of your legacy via your children, you have to think of your legacy via your actions. And then you have to sit and by extension go, well, truly, truly on my deathbed, truly, will I be happier if I gave up or if I continued to tell the truth? I'm scared of the regret of thinking, you know what, I was the most famous man in the world and every man on earth was listening to me and I was really making a difference, but I got scared. I don't think I can live with that. I don't think I can live as a coward. I'd feel like a pussy. I just feel like a wimp. And sometimes inside of men, that's all it takes for us to do the most stupid things there is. The idea of feeling like a coward. A man will run into a burning building to not be a coward. If the firefighter, they go, there's children in there, and the whole building's on fire. It's like, well, I can't be a coward. Oh, fuck it. And you'll risk your life. It's something that's built inside of us, honor and pride. It's something that should be. It's what they're trying to take away from us. But it's what used to be built inside of men. And I just feel like I can't give up. I know what I'm doing is good. I know what I'm teaching is good. I know that people don't like it, but I know I'm not teaching anything that's bad. And yeah, I want my children to be happy, but I have daughters too. And how do you make sure that your daughters are secure and have a good future? Well, I think you do that by building good men. How else do you do it? My daughter is mine now, but she won't be mine forever. She's gonna marry somebody. I like the idea of her marrying a good man with honor and principle, a man like me. I don't want to marry some idiot. So they call me a misogynist and I'm anti-woman. I'm pro-woman. The best way you can improve the lives of women is make men, better at being men. Because when a man is a good man, he's good for all of society, including women. He's good for everyone around him when he's good at being a man. So I feel like I'm helping them as well by extension. And it's difficult. And yeah, I can't say with honesty that I strongly considered giving up. It never crossed my mind. It was there for a second. Do I need to do this? And after like half a second, it was like, yeah, I do. I don't know why. I can't. It doesn't make logical sense.
So kids didn't influence it one way or another? Kids
made me want to do it more.
Kids made you want to do it more?
Kids made me want to do it more.
Got it.
I look up to my father as a hero, and I would hate for my sons to look up at me and not see me as a hero. Because that's how I believe you should see your dad, as a hero. And I feel like and you're not a hero without an enemy, and you're not a hero without fight. I think the world has always only ever been a battle for influence. Even if you look at the current battlefield, Ukraine is next door, it's 5 hours drive away. The battle in Ukraine is not just about tanks and trenches and grenades. It's a battle for influence. Who influences the people within this territory? Who is in charge of the thinking, the language, the mindset of people within this geographical area? Every single battle, every single pitched battle, every single argument, every single debate has always been a battle for influence. If you have influence, you're an extremely powerful person. All of us here are some of the most powerful people in the world. How many millions of people listen to us? We have massive influence. And I think you can have influence at the ground level. You don't have to be a famous podcaster or famously well-known to have influence. I would argue that those Romanian grandmas who gave me my food will remember me for the rest of their lives. I would like to believe I gave a positive influence and a positive impact on their lives for the rest of their life. I believe if you go through life and you're genuinely a good person, you try your best to be good to people, and you're honest, and you shake hands, and you don't lie, and you're on time, and you work hard, and you're good to everyone who's good to you, I think you'll have a massive influence. And I also believe, I truly believe that God is extremely giving. There's the saying, goes around, comes around. Completely true. But I would say it comes from God. God is keeping an eye on you and he's paying attention to you and he knows the kind of person you are and the kind of things you do. And I don't believe if you're actually genuinely a good person all of the time, that you're not going to get some goodwill back to you. Look at my scenario. If I was being a piece of shit for years with all these chicks, I'd be in jail. I'd be in jail. I could have never seen this coming. But the fact that I was nice, paid their taxi home, bought them food, looked after them. Are you okay? I know we broke up. I'm sorry. I know it hurts. I just did it. I was nice about all of it. Here I am. I'm fine. So I could have never seen this Matrix attack coming. It's amazing how what goes around comes around. It's truly amazing. If you're good to people, if you're generous to people, if you're helpful to people, you'd be amazed how much influence you can build up. I say this to people all the time. I don't think if you're a hardworking person who is honest, who shakes hands, who tries to learn, who does what they're supposed to do, who has a good heart, that you're truly, really not going to be able to get what you want. I think the universe is absolutely and utterly giving. When I see somebody who says they want something and they don't have it, I don't even think they truly even want it. You can have anything you want in the world. When a guy goes, I want a six-pack, then why ain't you got one? If you wanted it, you'd have it. You'd like it. There's a bunch of things I'd like that I don't have, but I don't want them. Everything I've ever wanted, I've got. I've never wanted something and not had it. We all know what we're talking about here. There's things we'd like. I'd like to be able to figure skate. Not enough to go learn to figure skate.
It's a weird look if you figure, although that other guy dancing like the way you dance is doing a pretty good job.
Bottom G.
Bottom G, yeah.
You've seen this guy?
He can figure skate.
That guy kills the dance moves.
Yeah, he's good. But
your doppelganger.
But if you truly want something, you're going to absolutely not really have it. So when it comes down to influence, I think you start at the base level, at the grassroots level.
What if this guy's got, like, you know, for example, like, you know how when you were 20, were you this driven?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so when you're 20, who did you look at and say, I can do it as good as him, if not better?
My coach, because I wanted to fight, and he used to beat me badly. Everyone used to beat me up when I was young, and I wanted to be the best, so I used to go into the fight championship.
Okay, how about communication? Who'd you look at? Were you always a good communicator? I can see you being a great communicator since you were 14 years old. I
was pretty good, yeah.
Okay, who did you look at and say, that guy's good, but I think I can, you know, do it better?
That's a good question. And I think that...
You know what I'm asking?
I know what you're asking. I don't know if there's one particular person I took nuances from, because when you're a great communicator, you know how to be serious, and you know how to make people sad and angry, and you also know how to make people laugh. There's different people who can do lots of different things.
So who was that? Was it somebody that was multifaceted like that?
I think it was a lot of different people, and I also think that...
Did you pull from comedy as well, or no?
Certainly did, but I was also extremely self-critical. I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I'll watch this podcast back 15 times. I will notice every single time I made a mistake. Just then I said, I'll watch twice. That was a mistake. I will watch this back 15 times and I'll identify every single error. I have an email list and I sign up and I get words of the day. I get 5 or 6 new words a day, which I try my very best to memorize. It's harder than you think to memorize 5 words a day, but I always try to make sure I have the most interesting vernacular I can possibly have, a wide vocabulary, so I can be very specific with my points. The reason I actually did that, I keep talking about my dad, but I'm his son. I have the same name, Emory Andrew Tate III. He was Emory Andrew Tate II. My father was a linguist for the CIA. He spoke Russian and German and Spanish and English. And I think I've told this before. Back then, when they needed someone who spoke Russian, they would take a Native American and teach them Russian. Nowadays, we have a bunch of Russian-speaking allies. You can go to Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They're all NATO and just get a Russian speaker. Back then, they taught my dad Russian, and he held the Air Force record for the fastest assimilation of a foreign language. When he died, a guy sent me a message saying, you don't know who I am, but I worked with your father in the Air Force, and he had the fastest assimilation. He learned Russian in 2 weeks. Crazy. And I remember saying to my dad, will you teach me Russian? He said, boy, you don't even know English. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you don't even know English. And once he sat me down with a dictionary, I was like, you're right. I don't even know English. That's why I've lived in Romania 7 years. People say, why don't you speak Romanian? Because I don't know English yet. I need to finish the first job before I learn the second. I don't know English. There's a bunch of words I don't know. I can't speak how he spoke. So I don't have time for a second language.
Yeah.
Also, another thing I found really interesting, Putin speaks English. Have you ever heard him speak English? No. Because if you want to speak to Putin, you speak to him in his language. You speak to me in Russian, and I reply to you in Russian, so I cannot be misunderstood or misconstrued. I don't make a fool of myself. You can't get me on some vernacular trick. I speak my language, and I also prefer that also. I speak English, that's what I speak. If you want to speak to me, you speak to me in my language, so I will win the debate, always.
Who'd you look up to outside of your dad?
I look up to lots of people.
I'm talking specifically younger age, not today. I'm talking 16, 20, 25, that age. Not today.
It's a good question, because I always believed in trying to take the best parts of individual people and then amalgamate them. And I know you want a name, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I would look at people who I didn't even respect, but they'd have one particular thing about them I thought, that's good. It could be somebody I didn't even like, but he dressed well. I think you just have to be perspicacious and look at people, and there's something you can learn from absolutely everybody, and just try and adapt it all. I'm not saying everybody should be clones of me. For everyone's individual, right? But there might be some things about me they find inspiring that they may adapt and take on board, and then they'll find some things from other people. But learning to speak is something I understood from a very young age how important that would be. That's a superpower.
Okay, so let me go back to the question I was asking, where I'm trying to go with this. So I asked the question, I said, imagine the 20-year-old that's watching this, that's saying, no, Tate, don't give me the answer for anybody can create, contribute to society. I'm not that guy. Talk to me like I'm one in a million. Talk to me like I'm one.
Cool.
So if I'm willing to give, 20 years, 30 years of my life to
Yep.
one way to go up to make true positive impact
Yep.
in America, my country,
Yep.
in the world.
Yep.
What should, don't talk to me like everybody else.
Okay.
Hold the standards. What should I do? What angle should I go?
Okay, so first things first, you need to be worthy of respect. And you're going to be worthy of respect through having things which are difficult to acquire. So first things first, the basic things, you need to be very focused on trying to make money because people listen to you when you have money. They just do. Secondly, you need to be in fantastic physical condition because when you're in fantastic physical condition, it cannot be bought. It must be earned. And people know that. When you're in, I don't know about you, if someone walked in to sell me something and they were obese, I would not trust them the same as if they were in fantastic physical shape. Because I'd say, I don't think you have dedication and heart. I don't think there's something about you that I just wouldn't trust you the same. So fantastic physical condition and money is the first thing. The second thing, whatever your ideas are, you need to learn how to communicate them. Speaking is a superpower in and of itself. You need to become a fantastic communicator. You need to be comfortable in all realms of communication. You need to be persuasive. You need to be comfortable arguing. You need to be good at debating. There's a lot of people out there in the world who have ideas that they can't even project into somebody else's mind. How are you gonna rule the world with that? How are you gonna get your ideas out there and make an influence if you can't make other people understand exactly what you think? That's the first thing. Second thing, once they understand exactly what you think, you need to make them agree with what you think. These are two different skills. Must be practiced and must be learned. If you're 20 years old and you want to change the world, you need to be having endless debates, endless, without resorting to name calling, not on Twitter like a dummy, in person. And you need to come across in a way that people agree with you. I'm no longer interested in just random chicks. I want a woman who I know would wait for me if I did 10 years. That's what I want. That's what I find interesting. That's what I'm in love with now. I can't be in love with a random chick. Also, once you get to a certain level of fame and influence, you're no longer winning the exchange. I feel like a lot of men like going out there and pulling girls because they feel like they won. Haha, look at this hot girl I got. Whereas if I go to the club and get a hot girl, oh, okay. Me, the famous millionaire, the most Googled man on earth, got a hot chick. Who really won here? Who pulled it off? She did. She'll brag, or rat, or kiss and tell, or ask for handbag. Like what did I win? Sex? Who cares? It's uninteresting to me. I don't want a child with her. I don't want a family with her. I don't want a future with her. So why do I even want her at all? I'm really beyond all of that stuff. So now, it's kind of funny. In jail, I got thousands of love letters from women. Thousands. I got thousands of love letters from women in jail.
Did you read them all?
I read every single one.
Yeah, but you have time, but you went through all of them.
All of them.
Got it.
Thousands of love letters.
Craziest letter you got? What's the craziest letter you got?
A lot of poems. One had drops of blood on it. She did a little cut. Lots and lots of love letters. Lots just saying that I'm the last man. They've been in love with me and they watch all my podcasts. And they were with, one of them said she was with her ex-boyfriend. He started watching me, then she started watching me, then she wanted me, not him, and got rid of him, and all this craziness. But I didn't trust any of it. Is it real? Is it an agent? Is it a psyop? Who's she? Is she crazy? What if I sleep with her and she says I did something to her? What if 13 years later she contacts the BBC? Garbage.
That would never happen.
I don't talk to any new chicks. Same as I don't have any new friends. I don't talk to any new chicks. No new girls.
That's what I thought.
Zero.
So let me ask you, the idea of going through a lot of girls when you're younger, do you think a man needs to go through that, or do you think that is a form of a weakness that holds you, that you're a slave to it?
Right. So that's a good question, and there's a fine line because there's arguments on both sides. However, I think in all scenarios in life, experience is always going to be valuable, no matter what it is. You need to have experience. If you're inexperienced to anything, whether it's hunting, figure skating, girls, you're going to suffer.
You pointed at him. You're saying, like, insinuating.
Sorry, I know. He told me figure skating, and we made fun of it earlier. But
I was technically Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
We're talking
figure
about
skating. You need experience, and experience is exceptionally important. Also, as a man, especially when you're young, you're gonna get your heart broken a bunch of times. Some bigger, older, richer dude's gonna take that chick, and you need to get used to that pain.
So
you need to get through it. So I do think it's a necessary part of being a man, but you don't want to be led by it. There has to become a point where you go, you know what, I'm versed enough. And also, another thing I would like to say is the reason you need to but date lots of women when you're younger, so you have choices.
Define the two.
Yeah.
Which is more important, date or sleep, in your eyes?
I feel like you don't really, I think that sleeping with a woman, you learn more about them as a closer relationship. So I'd say probably sleep with X amount, not crazy amounts, but I would say that, okay, let me give an example. If I go to the supermarket and pick up an apple, and it's the only apple I've ever eaten, can I really say if it's a good apple or a bad apple? It's the only apple I've ever tasted. It might be sour, it might be terrible, I don't know. Whereas if I try 10 apples, I can tell the differences between apples. I say, what's a good apple, what's a bad apple? I think you need that degree of experience, because sometimes you'll be with a woman and go, yeah, she's great, but if you're not experienced enough, you realize she really isn't all that great, and she actually treats you like a dickhead. Whereas if you've been with enough women, you can always reference back to that girl who actually was really good to you. And you'll probably mess it up because you're young and you're dumb. We've all done it. All of us have that girl we had who was perfect when we were young, and we all ruined it because we're stupid.
Who was that person for you?
Okay. Can't say names.
But no, not names. I'm not asking for a name. But I have mine as well.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I feel like when I watch you and you're going through your for example, so I don't know what kind of movies you like, but there's movies where it's redemption or vengeance. Like, I don't know if you watch Gladiator, 43rd minute, he walks up to the house, sees his wife, sees his kids, it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna tear you apart, right? And you watch that over and over again, or Taken, or Man on Fire, or some of these movies that are just putting that energy in you, right? So, girl that breaks your heart, and to produce the energy to say, watch who I'm gonna be in life. For the rest of your life, you're gonna brag about the fact that you could have had me, right? And then comes to a point where you're like, okay, there's not much more I can do. She already knows what she missed out on. Now what? But for me, go back to you. I'm curious. How bad of a breakup was it? How bad did she break your heart? I know you're
I think lots of men have gone through heartbreak. A lot of men have, and I wouldn't say that I've gone through any heartbreak which is particularly worse than any other guy. What I will say is that I think heartbreak is one of the most fantastic motivator on the planet. When a lot of men message me and say they're heartbroken, I think that is the most fantastic mindset to be in to achieve things. Because there is that degree of revenge, and there is that degree of vengeance, and that can only be achieved through being so successful, so monumentally important that she can't forgive you. And also, you cannot even sleep, you can't even concentrate, like your whole mind's a mess. That's the perfect time to train. I know what you're saying. I don't think I've been through a particularly bad heartbreak,